The most expensive apartment in 4 and 32 Park Avenue has never been slept in, not one night. The Saudi billionaire who paid $87.7 million for the highest residence in New York City, a 6-bedroom penthouse on the 96th floor, with a fireplace a quarter-mile in the sky, has, by his own broker's public account, never spent a single evening there. Instead, he has spent years doing something far more interesting, trying to get out. He listed it for $170 million. Then he pulled it. Then he relisted at $130 million. Then he cut the price again, down near $100 million, with his own new broker publicly calling the original ask indefensible. The man who bought the crown of Billionaires Row has been trying to hand it to someone else almost since the day he got the keys. And in this building, he is not the exception, he is the pattern. This is the construction files, and this is document number 10. In our last file, we read the paper trail behind the fraud lawsuit at 432 Park Avenue, the allegations about what the developers knew while $2.9 billion in apartments were being sold. Today, we follow the money in the other direction, out the door. Because the people who bought into Manhattan's most expensive address, the hedge fund founders, the retail magnates, the people who can afford anything, are doing the one thing that no marketing budget can spin. They are selling, some at half price, some at a loss. And in the strangest twist in this entire saga, even one of the men who built the tower is now being pushed out of his own apartments inside it. Let's start with the ledger, because the word cursed is an opinion, but a closing price is a fact. Exhibit 1, the penthouse, Unit 96. Purchased in 2016 for $87.7 million, at the time one of the priciest apartment sales in New York City history, more than $10,600 per square foot, listed in 2021 for $170 million, withdrawn. Relisted at $130 million, cut again by 23%. Years on the market, multiple brokerages cycled through, including some of the most famous names in luxury real estate, and the highest home in New York still could not find a buyer at anywhere near its dream price. Exhibit 2, and this one is the body blow, the 79th floor. An 8,000 square foot residence designed by the celebrated Japanese architect Hiroshi Sugimoto, finished with weathered stones imported from Kyoto and old-growth hinoki cypress. It was listed for $135 million. 2 years later, it closed at $65.6 million for the apartment itself, roughly $70 million once 2 attached studio units were included. That is less than half the original ask. And here is the detail that should stop every real estate investor cold. The final price was roughly what the sellers had paid for it back in 2016. 8 years of holding one of the most prestigious addresses on the planet, 8 years of carrying costs, taxes, and common charges on a trophy asset for a round trip to zero appreciation in a decade when Manhattan luxury broadly climbed. Exhibit 3, smaller money, same direction. An 84th floor unit purchased for $21.4 million in 2016 was later listed at $18 million, already underwater, and then cut again to $15 million. The owners were not negotiating for profit. They were negotiating the size of their loss. When sellers 200 floors apart in price tier are all running the same play, get out, take the hit, that is not individual circumstance. That is a verdict on the building. So what are they all running from? If you have followed this channel, you know the case file. The flooding from failed plumbing, the elevators that trap residents in a tower where the elevator is the only realistic way home, the groaning and banging in high wind as the slender frame flexes, noise residents have described in legal filings as intolerable, the reported electrical explosion, the trash chute that one account compared to a bomb going off, the 2021 lawsuit citing more than 1,500 construction and design defects, many labeled life safety issues demanding $250 million. And as of April 2025, the second lawsuit, the 46-page fraud complaint seeking another $165 million, alleging that developers knew about the facade cracking all along. The defendants deny wrongdoing, the sponsor has called the building remarkable, and the courts have ruled on none of it yet. But buyers do not wait for verdicts. Markets price in fear the moment it is filed, and the resale ledger you just heard is what that fear looks like in dollars. Now, the part of this story that almost nobody covers, and honestly, the part I find most damning of all. The two development partners who built 432 Park Avenue, Harry Macklowe and CIM Group, are now at war with each other inside their own building. According to reporting on the dispute, CIM moved to foreclose on 3 apartments that Macklowe himself owns in the tower, alleging he defaulted on $46 million in loans tied to those units. Macklowe fired back, claiming CIM owes him $110 million in developer distributions. Sit with that image for a second. The developer of Manhattan's most expensive address, the man whose name is welded to this tower, facing foreclosure proceedings on his own residences inside it, brought by his own partner. When the captains start litigating over the lifeboats, you do not need an engineer's report to tell you how the voyage is going. To understand how far this building has fallen, you have to remember how high it started. When 432 Park opened in 2015 on the site of the old Drake Hotel, it was the tallest residential building in the Western Hemisphere, 1,396 feet of pure white concrete grid, the defining silhouette of the new Billionaires Row. The sales machine was historic. The building crossed $2 billion in residential sales faster than any condo in New York City history, with 48 individual apartments closing above $20 million each, on the way to roughly $2.9 billion in total. Its developers called it the crown jewel. Buyers were not purchasing apartments. They were purchasing membership in the most exclusive vertical club ever built. A private restaurant, a 75-foot pool, a concierge operation that ran like a 5-star hotel. The pitch was immortality in concrete, an asset that could only ever go up. And that is exactly why the exodus matters beyond this one tower. Because 432 Park was the proof of concept for an entire asset class, the ultra-luxury super tall condo as a store of wealth, a safe deposit box in the sky for global money. The whole Billionaires Row model rests on one assumption, that scarcity at the top of the market protects value no matter what. The ledger at 432 Park is the first large-scale test of that assumption with a defect file attached, and the assumption is failing. Recent reporting has gone as far as describing stretches of Billionaires Row as a ghost neighborhood, towers of sold but empty apartments, lights off, owners absent, units quietly cycling through brokerages at descending prices. Let's translate the curse into the financial mechanics, because this is where it gets unforgiving. Every one of those discounted sales becomes a resale comparable. The $65.6 million closing on floor 79 is now in the data set that every appraiser pulls when any unit in this building, or frankly in any troubled super tall, goes under contract. Comps do not have feelings and they do not read press releases. They drag every neighboring valuation toward the most recent distress. Lenders see the same data. A building carrying 2 active lawsuits totaling more than $400 million in demands, plus a partner foreclosure fight, is a building where mortgage committees tighten loan-to-value ratios or decline to lend at all. That shrinks the buyer pool to cash. And cash buyers, as floor 79 proved, name their own price. Meanwhile, the carrying costs run in only one direction. Litigation budgets, facade investigations, insurance premiums, on a tower with a documented defect survey, all of it flows into common charges that owners pay every month while they wait for a buyer who may only show up at 50 cents on the dollar. The curse on this building is not supernatural, it is compounding. So is 432 Park Avenue actually cursed? Here is my honest read of the file. A curse implies bad luck, and nothing in this record is luck. The flexing was physics, predicted by the slenderness ratio. The cracking, according to the resident's own lawsuit, was foreseen and allegedly papered over. The exodus is just rational people reading documents the rest of the market ignored and paying whatever it costs to leave first. Because in a falling building, financially speaking, the first one out the door loses the least. The billionaires are not fleeing a ghost. They are fleeing a balance sheet. The buildings in these files always tell the truth eventually. This one is telling it through closing prices. $135 million becomes $65 million. $170 million becomes $100 million and falling. A developer's own keys end up in a foreclosure filing. Manhattan's most expensive address is still standing, still gleaming, still the postcard of Billionaires Row. It is just that the people who know it best keep choosing to know it from somewhere else. Here is what I want from you. The 79th floor sold for half its asking price, roughly what the owner paid 8 years earlier. So the question on the table is this: is 432 Park at 50% off the smartest contrarian buy in Manhattan? Or is catching this falling knife how the next Exodus story starts? And the bigger one: if the safest asset on Billionaires Row can give back a decade of value, where does ultra-luxury money actually hide now? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one, and the sharpest take gets pinned. This has been the Construction Files, document number 10. The file stays open.